Hey guys, what's up? So welcome to a discussion video. So this one is going to be my roundup video of DC fandom. Holy crap, man. There's a lot of DC content that we got on the 22nd of August. Holy shiz, man. I don't know where to start. It's literally one after another, like panel after panel, reveal after reveal. I'm sitting there, I was just like, oh, this is so much. I don't know what's going on. There's so much cool content coming out for DC, and it's like, I'm actually really glad they've done this event because so many people slayed DC. Yes, they've made mistakes in the past. I honestly think they have a plan moving forward now, trying to create this multiverse. I absolutely love DC fandom. Like, that's how you do a virtual convention. Like, obviously, San Diego, it kind of failed, didn't generate the buzz. Difference with this, it was trending on Twitter all night. There was so many different things trending, like, because I was going on Twitter and tweeting stuff anyway, but it was trending like no man's business. So there was definitely some buzz and excitement for this one. So yeah, I thought I'd just do a quick roundup of some of the stuff that really stood out for me at DC fandom, because there was a lot of stuff. And obviously, if you've seen my previous reaction videos, you kind of know the things that stood out to me at least. So obviously off the bat, we had the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer, which is really cool. We had the little brief panel beforehand. I think the panels were like 10-15 minutes, depending on what the project was or film or whatever. So that was cool, because you had like Gal Gadot was there, Chris Pine was there, Patty Jenkins was there. There was more. I can't remember all the actors off the top of my head. There were so many actors. But yeah, they were just talking about the film. I think with Wonder Woman 1984, it's been delayed a few times because of the pandemic, so I can understand the frustration, both from fans and from people involved in making the film. So it was kind of cool that they've got the enthusiasm and passion for the film there, and they just wanted to come out as well. Got to see the cool trailer, which is really awesome. Kind of a mixture of like present day stuff, flashback stuff. We got a look at Cheetah, which is interesting. I saw the look of her, and I know for a fact people are going to slate it and rip it apart, because that's what people do. We live in the age of hate. So I don't think it was that bad, the look of Cheetah. Obviously, it's hard to kind of do a character like that in live action, but from the brief bit we saw, I think they've done a good job. Obviously, saw that Steve Trevor's still kicking it about. Don't know how that happened. Maybe that'll get explained. And then, yeah, we see her swinging off a bloody lightning bolt for Vanessa. I was like, that is ridiculous, but that is so cool. So, yeah, I love the Wonder Woman stuff. That was really cool. Then we had one thing I was really looking forward to was the Warner Brothers Games Montreal announcement, where they unveiled Gotham Knights, which I've been seeing this, like, the artwork for it, like, just for the game logo. It was trending around on, like, social media, like, a few days before, trying to generate buzz. Then we got to see the announcement trailer, and it's a Bat Family game. That's the only way I can describe it. It's a Bat Family game where you get to play as Tim Drake, Robin, Nightwing, so Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Red Hood, and Barbara Gordon. Initially, when I done my reaction video, I thought it was Damian Wayne. It was only after I realised, it's Tim Drake, which makes sense. I know a lot of people are a bit salty because it's not Damian Wayne. To be honest, I think Tim Drake was the good option to go for, because he has the close relationship with the other two. Out of the three of them, he's the one that's kind of like really intelligent. Not on level of Bruce Wayne, but he kind of was like his protege in that aspect. So yeah, we got to see a look at the gameplay. Bruce Wayne's dead, and then he destroyed the whole Batcave. And then this triggers this thing called Code Black. So they all get this message through, and basically they have to pick up the slack and protect Gotham because there's no Batman. And you know that the villains of Gotham are going to love that. And you get to see a look at each of the characters. So each one's got their own unique design. They're going to have their own unique fighting styles as well. I really like the design for the costumes as well. Like Tim Drake's one I really like. There's a bit in the actual gameplay footage they showed where he has like the Red Robin like helmet on, so that was pretty sick. Nightwing looks awesome. He's got his cool like nunchucks as well. I really like Red Hood's design. Red Hood looks really cool. He looks like a bit of a brawler. And then they've gone for the classic purple like Batgirl suit as well. And then in the gameplay stuff we got to see, you see like I think it was about 10 hours into Batgirl's story, and you pick up on the Mr. Freeze storyline. Basically, he's just completely frozen Gotham, and then you have to climb up this tall building, like beat some thugs up, then you have to fight Freeze at the end. And it was only pre-alpha footage, but I tell you what, that game is looking really awesome. I was really impressed with it. Some people are like, oh, it's Warner Bros. Montreal, it's not going to be good. I mean, Origins wasn't that bad. Like, yeah, it wasn't on par with Rocksteady's like Arkham series, but I did like Origins. I thought it was okay. And I think Gotham Knights is going to be really awesome. Like, I was really impressed with it. Just the fact you can play as one of them, and then someone can drop in, you can team up as well, because you can do like co-op in it as well. So that's going to be a really awesome feature. I don't know if you can do 4-player, but it's still early days. But from what the developer was saying in the video, there's a lot of upgrades for your characters. It works on like a leveling system, so obviously if your character is, say, level 5, and you go to fight, say, the Mr. Freeze boss fight, that's a given. But it would be a difference to say if you was at level 15, the gameplay will change on your level. So there's like the RPG element to it. I just, it's a Bat Family game. What more can you ask? Be sick if there was like a DLC to get like Batwoman or like Damian Wayne or like maybe like Batwing. I don't know. But yeah, that was awesome. Really enjoyed that. I was like, okay, so that's a game I'm going to be getting. That's coming out next year. No confirmed date yet, but I think what they had at DC Fandom was just the early stages of gaming. But it looks so good. Then we had it was a short panel for the upcoming Flash film, which was meant to come out a million years ago. It's now coming out in 2022 with Ezra Miller. Andy Muschietti was the director. They didn't have any footage because the film's not actually started production yet. So yeah, they didn't have anything to show. They did show a look at the costume though for the Flash, and it looks really cool. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a New 52 style they've gone for. Because it's got the centre lightning bolt, and then it kind of all streaks up on the sides around him. Yeah, apparently the suit was made by Bruce Wayne, and obviously it came out a few days before DC Fandom that Ben Affleck was going to reprise his role as Batman in the Flash film, as well as Michael Keaton. I don't know if they're doing a full-on Flashpoint. I think there's elements of Flashpoint they're going to put into it, but it's going to be a time-travelling film from what the director said. So that's going to be pretty awesome. I really want it to come out, man, and I want it to be good. And apparently it's also come out that Grant Gustin from obviously the Flash on the CW TV series, he's going to be appearing in it, because essentially the whole multiverse on the Flash side anyway started in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that happened earlier this year. And obviously we had that little cameo with Ezra Miller in it. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Grant wasn't in it, but if they're really going to do this multiverse, it makes sense to put Grant Gustin in it, to have both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton. So that, I was like, okay, that's got my interest. Like, I reckon maybe they'll start production back end this year, early next year. And then maybe we'll see something maybe at conventions next year, who knows. But yeah, that was cool to just like hear the director talking a little bit about it, giving us the concept art as well. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Flash film. And then one of the things I was very, very much looking forward to and anticipating was the Zack Snyder panel for his Snyder Cut of the Justice League. That was a really awesome panel because you had, I think apart from Jason Momoa, you had all the Justice League actors to part. So you had Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, Ray Fisher and Ezra Miller. So they all took part in like some fun little Q&A that Zack was doing, and then he opened it up to questions where he asked the fans, and he got to speak to 2 of the fans that were directly involved in the Snyder Cut movement. So that was pretty awesome. It was really cool that he actually does that and takes his time to talk to the fans. After much anticipation, he showed us some new footage of his Justice League. Oh my god, it looks so good. Like off the bat, literally straight away as soon as it started, Darkseid just pops out of nowhere. I'm like, okay. That's, yeah, alright, so we're getting that. Steppenwolf looks a lot better. It looks like his design, it's not so heavily focused on the CG side that was in the theatrical version. And then some cool little scenes we got. There was some new Cyborg stuff, which I'm really looking forward to, because apparently in the original version, he was like the heart of the film. Like his story was meant to push it. There's some new Superman stuff we saw. There's some cool little scenes with Ben Affleck's Batman. Like there was one bit where he's in, I assume what was his Batcave, just looking at Superman. I don't know if it was actually Superman himself or if it was just like a hologram. Some cool new footage for Wonder Woman as well in there. Still no mention of Green Lantern. Don't know if he's actually going to be in it, so there's that too. And then got some new Flash stuff, like as we saw Iris, so that was quite a nice little touch. New Aquaman stuff as well. And then there was a really awesome bit at the end of it where they're talking and Ben Affleck's Batman gives his speech saying basically, these invaders, whoever they are, they fought a lot of people, but they never fought us united. I don't know the full quote, so sorry if I murdered it. It's just the way he delivered it, and I was like, that is an awesome bit of dialogue. Like the way he said it, it was like, right now the league is uniting. So yeah, that was a highlight for me, because when we saw the black suit Superman as well in the Justice Con panel, that got me excited. But then in the trailer as well, you actually see Henry Cavill in the black suit Superman. I'm like, yes, finally. That was a standout for me, seeing that trailer, because I'm really looking forward to it. And we also found out as well, it's going to be a 4-part. So it'll be 4 hours, each segment's an hour, and then Zack Snyder turned around and said that they're trying to do it where they'll release it as one full-length feature, so you can watch it all in one. Being in the UK, I don't know if we're going to get HBO Max, but he said they are working on international distribution, so we can try and get the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. So that's something we'll have to look forward to. I thought they were going to go with the series route, to be honest, because it gives them more freedom to play with as well. But then if they're going to release it as a full feature anyway, you could just buy that and watch it as a whole film. So yeah, that was quite a standout moment, the Snyder Cut panel. So a lot to dissect in that panel as well, and I was like, that was quite a cool standout moment too. And then we had the TV show of The Flash panel as well. So we had pretty much all of the main cast there, apart from a few, like Tom Cavanagh, Jesse L. Martin weren't there. It was cool because they talked about like their highlights from season 6. Obviously how pandemic really affected the final few episodes, because we didn't get the full 22 episodes. And then they're talking about what their favourite highlights were, how a lot of them like the back end of season 6. I feel like season 6, after Crisis, it kind of came into its own. Eric Wallace, the showrunner, showed the season 7 sizzle reel, which I think was footage from episode 20 of season 6. I think they had like 85% of that finished, so they showed that, but they said that this is kind of what you can expect in season 7. Obviously Barry's got to try and get this artificial speed force going, because the Flash is losing his speed. You've got the Mirrorverse stuff with Iris. I reckon that might get wrapped up pretty early in season 7, and then Godspeed could be maybe the big bad of season 7. I don't know, but it was just cool, just like seeing all the cast, and like they was all interacting. Really nice bunch of actors. They asked, oh, will we see the golden boots for the Flash? And Grant Gustin was like, you know my opinion on it, talk to Eric, basically. So that was quite cool, because I think that's the only thing they need as. And once they get the golden boots for the Flash, that's pretty much like the comic style suit they've got. So yeah, I was looking forward to that. I suppose they can't really show too much, because I don't think they've started filming yet anyway, because I think all the actors are doing the 14-day quarantine at the moment in Vancouver. So that was just a cool little fun panel. It's got me excited for season 7. Doesn't return to 2021, which is a bit of a shit, but it is coming. We are getting new Flash, so that's good. Oh yeah, and one of the surprise panels was the Black Adam panel, and The Rock himself, Dwayne Johnson, was there. Because, do you know what it's like? Black Adam's been mentioned for years and years and years, and from what The Rock was saying, it's been like a 10-year like project. It's basically like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. Apparently, it's been a pipeline project for 10 years. They haven't started shooting yet, so there was no trailer per se, but there was this really awesome little animated feature they showed, and I think Jim Lee was directly involved in it. And obviously Jim Lee is the MVP of DC. He's an amazing illustrator and content creator, and it was cool because you get to see The Rock as Black Adam, and I gotta say he looks the part, you know. I was like, okay. And he also dropped a bombshell that we're getting the JSA, Justice Society of America, in there as well. I was like, okay, just casually just throw that in there, why don't you? That's cool. Yeah, and obviously with the Justice Society, he mentioned we're going to get Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and I was like, oh shit, I love Dr. Fate. So the fact Dr. Fate's in there, I was like, okay, that's pretty sweet. You got Atom Smasher and Cyclone, so they're going to be the JSA in the film. As we know, Hawkman and Dr. Fate are two of the founding members of the JSA as well, as we know from previous versions in the comics. It was touched in Smallville and in Stargirl, I believe, as well. I think it was mentioned in that too. It'll be interesting to see the JSA come to the big screen as well, so that's going to be pretty sweet. The way The Rock was talking about Black Adam, it's going to be a game changer for DC, because at the end it was cool. He basically put out a challenge to like all the Justice League, saying the shift in power is about to change. So I'm looking forward to Black Adam. I think from the sounds of it, The Rock loves that character, and I think he's got faith in this project. And just seeing the cool little animated feature, I was like, you've got me interested. So that's something to look forward to. I don't think it's coming out until 2022, I believe. They haven't started production yet either. I imagine with a lot of these 2022 releases, it might be next year start production, or they're still in pre-production stage at the moment. But that was quite a surprise trailer. He was like, there could maybe be a team up or a cameo of Shazam or Superman. We don't know. That was about a 10-15 minute panel actually, and from what The Rock was saying, it's gonna be a game changer for DC, and I really hope it delivers. I think it will, because I don't think he'd be involved in it if he didn't believe in it. So that was quite a cool stand-up thing as well. I literally couldn't cover everything, because I was trying to watch the panels, record and edit and try and upload, and it just didn't work. So, but we had Rocksteady's panel where they announced the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League game coming out on next gen. That looks absolutely bonkers. It was like, I think it was like a 4 or 5 minute trailer. Basically you see Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, King Shark and Deadshot, and they're like on some mission that Amanda Waller sent them on, and then at the end of it you see Superman at the end. He kills someone he saves, and then basically Suicide Squad have to take out the Justice League, and I'm like, okay, that's going to be interesting. But the graphics look ridiculous. It's coming out on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series X. It's coming out in 2022, so it's quite a way away. I suppose all they've got there was just like a little cinematic trailer. The game looks awesome. Captain Boomerang was making me laugh. He was just coming up with some great one-liners. I was like, this guy is hilarious. So we didn't really see any gameplay of it because I suppose it's still early days, but that's coming out. That looks really awesome as well. I was like, okay, that's pretty sweet. And the Rocksteady games are great. They said it's like it's in the Arkhamverse, but I think it might take parts from the Injustice games as well. So a bit of a mixed bag there, but that'll be something to keep your eyes on. And then the final thing that was basically the last thing that was announced at DC Fandom was Matt Reeves' panel for the Batman. That was a really interesting panel. I think that was the best way to finish it off as well, because he was really giving us a good insight into the character in the film. Because Aisha Taylor was doing the panel and he was basically stepping into his mythos of how he's going to approach the character that's going to be different from what we've seen before. It's more sounding like he's going to be more of the detective side, which we haven't really seen in the films. So he's going to take influence from Detective Comics. From what he was saying, Robert Pattinson is going to be a totally different Batman. I did like that Robert Pattinson, he started off the panel, he went, I can't really say anything, but I'm really good to get back. I think a lot of people are writing him off. And then we got to see the trailer. And I think that got put to bed pretty damn quick, because the trailer itself, it was like just over 2.5 minutes. You can check it out in my reaction video I did previously. We saw the trailer. Starts off with this like really noir-esque vibe. Someone gets their face taped up and then it jumps straight into it. You see Robert Pattinson in the Batman suit and I was like, okay, this looks pretty awesome. It looks like he works closely with the GCPD, so that detective element is pretty much established quite early on. The trailer just kind of introduces not all the characters, but you get a good look at Selena Kyle's Catwoman. I don't know if she actually is Catwoman in this, because the idea is it's like his second year being Batman, so it's like his sophomore year. So it's not an origin story, because Matt Reeves was like, look, we know the origin, it's been done to death, we just want to do it where he's kind of been active as Batman for a couple of years, and I find some of those stories are really great as well. Yeah, the idea is he's still trying to figure out how to be this vigilante, essentially. We didn't see Alfred, but we heard Andy Serkis' Alfred in the trailer. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think the English guys just work for Alfred. Obviously Michael Caine was brilliant, like Jeremy Irons, and now we've got Andy Serkis. I think that's going to be really awesome. We got a good look at the Batmobile. Batmobile looks really sweet. And then you saw Rob Pattinson as Bruce Wayne, and it's not the typical Bruce Wayne that we're used to. A lot of people have been criticising it because they're like, oh, that's not Bruce Wayne. But I think the idea for this one is it's meant to be quite dark. I wouldn't say he's struggling, but he's still trying to figure out how to live this double life, maybe, and it's probably taken a toll on him because this is quite a younger version of Bruce Wayne. So he's not going to be the billionaire philanthropist that we know and love as he gets older. So I'm like that they've gone down that route, and it's not like, oh, I'm Bruce Wayne. It's like kind of like, oh, this guy is a fraction of what Bruce Wayne should be. So that's quite a cool approach. Riddler's the main villain, as I've said. We've got Cobblepot in there, played by Colin Farrell as Penguin. That'll be interesting to see. And then there was one scene, man, it was brutal. Like, you just see these group of like what look like Joker thugs, and then one goes for Batman, and he pummels the crap out of him, knocks him down, keeps going. As he finished hitting him, he says, I am vengeance. And I was like, that line is amazing, because obviously that's going to lead into I am vengeance, I am not, I am Batman. I'm glad he didn't just go I am Batman, because that's been done so many times. So again, different version there. It just got a really cool vibe. It's got like a noir-esque, dark, gritty. There's elements of the Gotham TV series in it, I think, which might have inspired it as well. And obviously the spin-off Gotham PD series that they're doing is set in year 1, and then the film is year 2, so essentially they're going to dovetail and connect. I love the trailer, like from the music to the lighting, just the aesthetics of it. The Batsuit looks brilliant. I was really sceptical at first, but seeing it in action, I was like, I actually really like this Batsuit. You do see a bit of action in it. Bearing in mind the film's only 25 to 30% filmed, so they still have a lot to do. And it even says at the end of the trailer, currently in production, so they are still working on it. But I loved it. I think it was the best way to end DC Fandom. And just the end of the trailer is like, he takes the cowl off and you just see all the like the eye makeup's run down, and he looks a bit battered and like broken, and I was like, this is what we need. We need a different take on the character, because let's face it, there's so many times you can tell a story of Batman. There's loads of stories in the comic world, so you can tell. I'm glad they're going a different approach, and from what Matt Reeves said in his panel, he understands the character, he knows the mythos of it, he knows his vision, and he's like, you know, I love what Ben Affleck's done, what Christian Bale did, and he was like, I think Robert Pattinson's going to surprise people. And even his voice, it's not like deep, it's not a voice modulator, it's kind of his own spin on it. A lot of people writing him off. I never write people off because, like, you know, people wrote the Joker off when Heath Ledger got cast, how that turned out. People wrote off Ben Affleck. Again, people actually love Ben Affleck and the fact he's back again. So it's like, okay, even Christian Bale. I remember people writing off Christian Bale. So I'm always open-minded, and from what I saw, I think Robert Pattinson's going to be a really good Batman. That was the way they rounded off DC Fandom. I was like, okay. So there was a lot to take in there. Because they're doing a second DC Fandom, which is on September 12th, I believe. Because originally, it was meant to be a 24-hour event. They kind of changed the schedule. I think it was like a few days before. So basically, we got all this on the 22nd of August, and we're getting another DC Fandom on 12th of September, which is going to have a bunch more content. It's essentially it's the second day, but I think they've spread it out to try and maybe get some scheduling sorted and try and get some availability for actors and stuff and try and get more fresh content. I don't know if they're going to rehash some of the stuff we already had. They did this thing called the Encore panels, which are basically the same panels, but they just showed them again after the Batman panel. I know there's going to be a lot of the Arrowverse stuff, so I think there's going to be a Legends of Tomorrow panel, Batwoman, Stargirl, Supergirl, Black Lightning, so I know we're getting those coming. I think there's a Superman and Lois one too. In terms of films, I don't know what else they're going to put out of the bag, but yeah, so we're getting a 2-part on September 12th. Overall, it was a fantastic event. Like, it felt really engaging, it felt like a convention. Even though you was at home, you really felt like you was like attending a con. I know that it's hard to explain, but to me, I was sitting there at my desk just watching. I was like, I feel like this is Comic Con, and the fact it was just purely DC dedicated, I loved it, because I think with when they did San Diego at home, not having DC there and Marvel, I suppose there was nothing that was gripping fans. DC Comics is a massive thing, and this event, I'm telling you, it done so well because it was trending on Twitter, because on the actual live stream you had like all the social media interaction for Twitter popping up. The tweets were going mad, like it was ridiculous, like every little announcement, tweet. I was going on Twitter because I was tweeting stuff because I was like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah, there was so many hashtags, like yeah, Suicide Squad that was trending, you had the Batman, you had Flash was trending, Snyder Cut Justice League, Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League was trending, so there was a lot more engagement on this one. The way that they planned this as well worked brilliantly, having the 5 different rooms. I only stuck to All Heroes because it had everything I wanted to see in there. The other stuff, I'm sure, had a lot of awesome stuff, but for me it was like the game stuff, the movie, the TV stuff. That's what I was looking forward to. Bit of comic stuff too. Let's talk of Static Shock coming back as well, so I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome as well. But no, overall it was really well thought out event. They've really done a great job of it. It gave you that fan experience. Jim Lee was hands-on involved in pretty much most of the panels, so he was a big influence in this event as well, because he done all the art for the rooms. Like when you're watching the panels and it goes into the room before the panels, like you see all Jim Lee's art, and I'm like, that's just brilliant. Like he was that much involved in it. But yeah, it was just, I couldn't fault the event. I think the only thing I could fault, I kind of wish some of the panels were a bit longer, but I get, again, they had to try and fit as much in as they could with the time they had. But yeah, that was DC Fandom. I loved it, absolutely loved it, especially being a massive DC fan, and to have an event dedicated purely to DC Comics and what they're doing and trying to build this multiverse. I think people are going to start seeing DC in a different way, to be honest. It was just literally reveal after reveal, so much amazing content, because I watched it from the get-go. It started at 6 o'clock, like UK time, and I think the last panel was like, I don't know, 1:30 Sunday morning, which was the Batman. Yeah, and then when it finished, I was like, oh man, like, that was so awesome. That, to me, that's how you do a virtual convention, and it gave you the Comic-Con experience, but you could interact with like the guests as well, because you could send in questions and they were answered by them as well. So it was all these little things. Really well thought out event. I'm looking forward to seeing the second part, seeing what they have in that. But yeah, that's it for my coverage on DC Fandom, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I freaking absolutely loved it. You can always go back and watch my reaction videos to the trailers. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned for part 2 on September the 12th. I'm sure I'll do more coverage on it as well, and hopefully I'll have my new PC by then, so I could do a lot more videos, get them out a lot quicker this time. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. I'll catch you soon.